This past week, we saw President-elect Donald Trump get sentenced in New York City. And I must say, having practiced law now going on 20 years, I've never seen anything like it. And I want to talk about that in this video. Stay with me. Hello, everyone. I am civil rights attorney and Reverend Augustus Corbett. Thank you for watching the Defiant Lawyers. Each and every week, we bring you at least one legal analysis of some trending story regarding politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you with the information you need to defy this unjust legal system and to nullify systemic racism. If that interests you, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Click the bell so you'll get notified every time we upload one of these powerful and informative videos. Before we get into today's message, please go over to Amazon.com, grab a copy of my book, Education in Justice, where I teach you what to do if you have an African-American son in school. And I can tell you already that he's being mistreated. But in this book, you will learn how to deal with that mistreatment and how to be a strong advocate for your son. So go over to Amazon.com, grab a copy of my book now. You will be very happy that you did. All right. So as I said, this past week, President-elect Donald Trump was sentenced in New York City in what's called the hush money case. Now, I don't want to get into the facts of the case, but ultimately, a jury convicted Trump of 34 felony counts. And then the judge delayed sentencing until after Trump was elected president. Then the judge allowed Trump to appear virtually at sentencing, plus the judge imposed no punishment and followed that up with an order of unconditional discharge of the case. But he kept the convictions in place. Now, let me tell you, in my close to 20 years, I've never seen or heard anything like that. In fact, I heard one legal historian say that it's never been done in American history. So the sentencing was completely unprecedented. I mean, totally unprecedented. Like I said, I've represented probably several thousand people at this point, and I've never seen what I saw in this sentencing. Now, of course, some of that we got to give credit to his lawyers, right? They did a tremendous job with this case. And because I'm a criminal defense attorney, they are my colleagues and I'm their colleague, and I congratulate them on a very well executed strategy. Basically, it seems to me of delaying until President Trump was elected. So I'm not mad at them about that. I am a criminal defense attorney, and they did a good job. Hats off to you all. Now, also, obviously, a lot of the privilege that he received is because they were able to delay this until he was elected president. And now there's all kinds of privileges that he had, and the judge felt bound to respect. So, it just worked out very well for him. And then when you think about the other cases around the country that he also had pending, once he was elected president, that got rid of the two cases that Jack Smith was doing. And the case in Georgia, we can only look to Fani Willis for that. I mean, she just made some big errors. And so that case now just hangs in the balance. And it just depends on so many different factors. I guess that it probably will likely be dismissed as well. Maybe not. Maybe some other jurisdiction will step in and prosecute the case, but that is Georgia. And a whole lot of the white conservatives there obviously support Trump. So I think that case just completely hangs in the balance. Then that left the classified document case in Florida. But we know what happened there. Judge Eileen Cannon dismissed that case. She had already slow-walked it before then, but ultimately she ended up dismissing that case after Justice Clarence Thomas questioned whether the appointment of Jack Smith was even legal. Now, the Justice Department did appeal the dismissal, but what ended up happening was Trump was elected, and so the Justice Department at that point filed a motion to withdraw their appeal, and the 11th Circuit accepted that motion. And so that was the end of that case, basically. Then Jack Smith and the Department of Justice dropped their second prosecution of Trump for the January 6th insurrection after Trump got reelected. And so that left the New York case, or cases. And quite frankly, I'm sure that Trump's team is going to appeal those cases to SCOTUS. And what are we dealing with when we deal with SCOTUS? We're dealing with 6 extremely conservative justices. Now, 2 of them, Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, decided not to intervene in the sentencing. So they allowed the sentencing to go ahead. But I think that was because they knew they would be hearing the appeals case. And they probably will dismiss some, if not all, of those New York cases. Yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I could be completely wrong. They may uphold all 34 of them. I doubt it. I just doubt it. Alito, Thomas, Roberts, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, Barrett, I believe, will dismiss some, if not all of those cases, because some of those cases hinge on whether or not Trump was acting within his official duties. In other words, were some of the things that brought about his conviction official acts. The court has already said he has absolute immunity. Him and other presidents have absolute immunity for their official acts. And so his attorneys are already crafting arguments to show that everything he did, I know it sounds crazy. How is paying money for a cover-up of, alleged sex acts with a former porn star? How are those things connected with one's official acts, especially when they occurred before Trump was elected president, right? I can't tell you. I don't know enough of the facts. I don't know. So it's quite astounding. Like I said, it's unprecedented that someone starts out with all of these cases, and there is a good likelihood that all of them will be dismissed. Every one of them. So, look, Trump put 3 people on the United States Supreme Court, and he works that, right? He works that. And he is a former president, and now he is the president-elect. So that just gives the guy a whole lot of privilege that the average person just simply does not have. And it's a little bit distressing to me as a criminal defense attorney because I represent primarily Black people. They don't have the money Trump has. They've never been president. They've never put people on the United States Supreme Court. So we don't tend to get a fraction of the privilege that he gets. I mean, it's just the facts. And again, that is frustrating. I can't help it but to be a little bit frustrated about that because it shows at a minimum that there are 2 justice systems. One for the rich, white, and powerful, and another one for everybody else. In this country, that's what it bottoms out to. One justice system. If you're rich, white, powerful, you could even be guilty. And then there's a whole nother justice system for everyone else. And I see that all the time for my clients. For example, do you think a judge would have allowed one of my clients to get sentenced virtually? No, chances are they would have been in jail until they got sentenced. Or do you think one of my clients, having been found guilty by a jury, not by the judge, this is not what we call a bench trial. This is a jury trial, a jury of Trump's peers. So this is not, a lot of people online blaming the judge is this and the judge isn't that. The judge didn't find him guilty. The jury did. And that was only after there had been a lot of legal fighting to see what, if any, evidence came in. Trump, very capable lawyers, argued against certain testimony and certain other kinds of evidence. They had the chance to do that. And D.A. Bragg and his team had the chance to make whatever arguments they wanted to make. And the judge, being the gatekeeper, allowed what he thought was appropriate to come in. And all of that has been looked at on the state level by several appellate courts in New York. So you can assume that the prosecution and the convictions are legitimate, or at least they went through the process that every other defendant faces or is entitled to when charged with a criminal offense. Now, the ultimate arbiter here will be the United States Supreme Court. And like I said, I just don't believe that Trump will end up a 34 times convicted felon, if he ends up a convicted felon at all, with the 6 folks on the United States Supreme Court. And some of them have shown themselves to be very pro-Trump. In other words, you really could just call them MAGA. And it was very distressing to me that Justice Alito, spoke to Trump before his team filed a motion to have the sentencing stopped or stayed. I mean, wow. That kind of privilege we just wouldn't have in state court dealing with regular people. That would be absolutely unfair. That's what we call ex parte communication between one of the judges and the defendant. The prosecutor would have had a fit over that, right? Now, I would have been happy about it because, again, I'm a criminal defense attorney. If I can speak to a judge about my case out of the presence of the prosecution without it violating some ethics law or rule, I would be absolutely the first to do it. But the typical, regular, normal person does not get that kind of privilege. And I remember during the trial, I remember how Trump would be disrespectful to the judge, to the judge's clerks, and so on, even to the judges and prosecutors' family members. I would have shut that down so fast if I was representing a client who was being disrespectful like that. But they even, from what I can remember, I think they agreed that he had the right to do that because he was at that time campaigning. The judges I'm used to would have said, that's his business that he's campaigning. That's no reason for me to allow him to be making comments about me, my family, my clerks, and etc. All of that is privilege that the average person doesn't have, and especially the average Black person just doesn't have it. And so I can remember back during the campaign when some African-American men felt like they had something in common with Trump because maybe they had been through the criminal justice system and he now had been indicted and had a mugshot, and some of them were like, yeah, now I have something in common with Trump. And I would say, no, you do not. You're not rich, you're not white, and you're not powerful, having been a former president who put 3 folks on the United States Supreme Court. You have very, very, very little in common with Donald John Trump. But that's what they thought. So anyway, yes, we are talking about Trump having received unprecedented kingly privilege. And it is a little distressing for those of us who are criminal defense attorneys who've handled thousands of these cases, and we never saw that kind of privilege for our client. And I'm not mad at his attorneys who were able to get the outcomes that they've gotten for him. I just wish that everybody could get those kind of privileges, including African Americans. All right? I am civil rights attorney and Reverend Augustus Corbett. Thank you for watching this video. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, click the bell so that YouTube can see all the activity associated with this video and push it out to more. Until the next time, peace.